People who have had any kind of training in hand fighting, boxing, karate, are more likely to throw a jab before they throw this right hand punch. So if there's any training, you've got to be ready for a straight punch and have a reaction to that. Now remember our basic principle that my parallel hands are attached psychologically to my subject or opponent before he does anything. When I'm in a field enemy position, I'm already thinking this hand is attached to that one, this hand's attached to this one, so if this hand moves, this hand moves. If this hand moves, this hand moves. Now in this situation, Brian's going to throw a jab straight from my face. I'm going to parry in on the jab. Parry in is where you simply swat the hand like a fly. It's not a gross movement, and it's not a movement from the shoulder. I'm just pivoting from the shoulder. This makes the movement very quick. If he comes from the pocket to punch me when I'm in my interview stance and the hand comes up, I still have time to react to this, and notice I'm leaning into the punch because I'm ready to go around his back. Okay? From the pocket this time, he punches. This comes around. I'm getting to the outside of his body. If he takes a good fighting stance and I don't have time to claw in and start working on my clinch, the very first punch I'm expecting is going to be this jab. So as he comes up in a fighting stance, I'm in my field interview stance, I'm ready for the jab. He hits, I parry in. Now, as he punches and punches straight through my forehead, I'm also going to slip this punch. A slip is a movement of your head to the side. So as his head comes past my head, I'm moving to the side. At the same time, I parry this blow. I'm moving along his arm. When in our classes for the kids, I say slip and slide. As he punches my face, I slip and I slide up his arm. I want to be conscious of his arm being in contact with my neck and shoulder as I come in. So as he throws this punch, parry, slip, slide, now I've got a clinch from the rear. It's still a side clinch, and the only real difference between this clinch and the clinch that we've studied up to this point is that my head is now behind his shoulder. If he takes a fighting stance, I claw, come in, brace, lock, get control. My head is on the front of his shoulder. If he throws this straight punch, slip, slide, I come around into a side clinch. But in this case, my head is now behind his shoulder. One more time on this one. He punches, slip, slide, clinch. My hip is again behind his hip. My head is pressed tightly against his body. I'm pulling in on his rib cage, and you can probably tell by the expression on Brian's face this is not comfortable. As you bear into his rib cage, he'll lose breath and you'll be able to simply take him down, and I'll show you some other takedowns from this position. An offensive approach to this same clinch is if somebody puts their hands up in a fighting stance, all I really have to do is hit under his elbow, slip and slide, and now I'm underneath that lead hand and back to this side rear clinch. Side clinch with your head and back. So one more time, he assumes a fighting stance here. And now around back of him, my hips are tight. I'm putting pressure into his ribs, and he is starting to bend over where I can collapse him onto the ground. If he throws the punch, slip, slide, and move into this clinch. Be sure your hips are tight to your opponent. You're putting pressure into his rib cage and then bending him backwards or forward, depending on the takedown we look at. At this point, I'm going to have Brian throw a straight punch from his right hand, so you see how this functions. Here, slip, slide, punch here, bring it down. Same situation if he throws a straight punch from his right hand. Notice my reaction time here. As he punches, my hand has to come up, punch fast. The hand simply comes up because he's got to move all the way from there to here to do damage. In my field interview stance, all I have to do is move the hand up and away. This little parry, this little parry is very, very fast. It works against knife attacks and other things, but basically your field interview stance. He throws the punch. Slip, slide, lock, get the hip in, push on his ribs. Things are going better for me than they are for him.